This is the arrest affidavit in the Colorado shooting. This is the preliminary investigation by law enforcement, what they know about the event. And three things stand out to me as part of this affidavit that help us understand a little bit better the picture of what transpired yesterday in Boulder, Colorado. So I want to walk you through these three key points that stand out to me. First of all, the shooter in this event has been charged with first-degree murder. This is the record that law enforcement pulls together from eyewitnesses, from other responding law enforcement to piece together the puzzle of the scene. It is the initial information. It is not the final information. So it may change. That said, here's the 3 points that are really important. The timeline. This event happened over the course of about an hour. When you kind of jump into breaking news, it's difficult to know, isn't it? Is it 5 minutes, 15 minutes, several hours long? But the timeline as it stands is about an hour. And what witnesses describe is a very chaotic and violent scene. It is going to take a long time to piece together what happened minute by minute. One of the descriptions that continues to come up of the shooter is someone wearing an armored vest, body armor, green tactical vest. And that's going to be important because later we find out what was left at the scene. Some of you may have seen a picture of the alleged shooter in this, not wearing many clothes. At the scene, left inside the supermarket, was a green tactical vest, a rifle, semi-automatic handgun, a pair of jeans, and dark-colored long-sleeve shirt. That's going to come important later in just a moment. From our understanding, the suspect was taken into custody, didn't say much. I thought this stood out in the affidavit. The suspect did not answer questions, though he asked to speak to his mother. So that's the first thing that stands out to me, the timeline. Second thing that stands out to me, he was known to law enforcement. How well known? We don't really know. What the affidavit says is there is a criminal history that shows this person had a charge of third-degree assault. The Denver Post, which has some great reporting, local reporting in the area, says that he was also convicted of an assault charge. We're trying to see if these are the same charges and trying to work through it. The Denver Post also reports separately that law enforcement talks about 2 interactions with this individual. Doesn't describe them, but says that they interacted with him. Remember, he's only 21 years old. He's only 21 years old. So over the course of a time period of a couple years where he is an adult, this is what we know from law enforcement. Third thing that is important to note in this affidavit, I'm going to read it to you. Using law enforcement databases, investigators determined that the alleged shooter, had purchased a Ruger AR-556 pistol on March 16th, 2021. This pistol matches the description of one of the guns found on the scene. We don't know if it's the exact same one. Surely law enforcement will be able to piece that together. But he was a legal gun owner according to this affidavit. Just one quick note on this because you're going to be hearing a lot of conversation, right, about gun laws in America. Ruger AR-556, remember AR does not mean assault rifle. It means armor light. It's a type of gun maker. It's an easy mistake that's made often. Quite frankly, a lot of journalists make that mistake. So that's what we know about the investigation as it stands. You know that this individual remains in custody completely separately. We're going to take you from Boulder, Colorado to Washington, D.C. Unrelated, the Senate had a judiciary hearing today about gun violence. I say gun violence because some believe that's a partisan term. Some believe what gun violence is just violence. But this is a hearing that was set up because this is one of the issues that's being taken up by Congress. Just last week, the House of Representatives passed some gun law legislation. And so these stories right now, as you're continuing to watch the coverage in other areas, are like this. They're on the same track. As the investigation is going, we're also getting the politics. The question that's going to happen over the next several days is, do they split as we actually learn more about the investigation? And yet the debate over gun laws continue. So do they stay close together or do they split because new details are coming up? So that's something I'm going to be watching for. I listened to some of the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. It's about 3.5 hours long. Lawmakers reflect a slice of America. So they're reflecting a lot of different opinions on gun laws. I'm trying to figure out if we should pull a couple clips for you so you could just see what the conversation is like in Washington, D.C. It's obviously a very big political topic, very emotional, and this platform for Democrats is something that's important. Democrats have the majority in the House and the Senate. Depending on how Senate procedures are worked out, amongst the senators. They have the majority to make significant legislative changes. So this is going to be something important to watch. This event, along with the one last week in Atlanta, Georgia, only further ignite the momentum behind that. So just, again, something to watch with the timing. One of the great things about owning a news platform, can be challenging sometimes, is that you get to make editorial decisions. And you might notice I didn't use the name of the shooter. I don't think we need to. You're going to see it enough. We're going to know, we're going to talk about him endlessly for weeks and weeks and months, depending on what happens next. So what I would like to do, and what really stands out about this story, is that the victims in this particular case were just going about their daily lives like all of us. And so instead of saying the name of the shooter, I thought I should leave you with their names. So it's Denny, Neven, Rikki, Tralona, Suzanne, Eric, Teri, Lynn, and Jodi. I bet we know some people with those same names, right? So thinking about their families tonight, because they're part of this discussion too. And as you know, the victims on all of these cases just sort of move to the side as these other political forces or really legal forces take over as we watch justice evolve in this particular story. So I'll put this affidavit underneath this video on our website. Highly encourage you to check it out yourself. Read a little bit about firsthand sources. That's so critical in journalism, firsthand sources of information. And you can just see it for yourself. Again, it may change, but I'm going to put it there so you have access to it. So questions and comments, let me know. We'll have more on this developing story on smartnews.com. Take care, guys.